You don't get no new music.
Oh boy. Well, brothers, we are here. So that must mean it is officially a Wednesday night, and John Cena finally speaks, and he speaks his truth. But the question is there some truth to what John Cena had to say? Not to mention, we are going to go over some of our favorite heel turns of all time. Some expected, some maybe unexpected. Unpopular Opinion is back this week and more. So, of course, on this road to WrestleMania, oh yeah, and of course, we have no idea. We're no closer to even figuring out what's going to be on this year's WrestleMania card. We got 2 nights to figure out, and we're not going to even try, but we will still have this conversation. So buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to get into because for some strange reason, Brian Nate seems to think that John Cena has somewhat of a point. All that and more right after this. Let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Hold it. Ooh, welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building, and he is your host. Mr. Super Producer Brother Hugh has the third A to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D in the building. And he is your host, not just any guy, but the Belt King, Brandon the Guy, who is in the building tonight. And he is your host. Last but not least, the heart and soul, the creator, the founder, and still in 2025, still singing the praises of WrestleMania 9, even though nobody agrees with him, Mr. Steal Your Show.
Hollywood!
Brian H. Waters in the building, and welcome to.
So you came up in my therapy session today.
Well, good. That's probably never a good thing, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. I do not give the most positive advice. I used to tell people, listen, whatever I'm telling you, I'm sure it's not the right thing, so do the opposite. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. That should be fun.
It was just to steal your show line. That's all.
No, it's cool.
We'll talk about it Realm After Dark.
Lions, tigers, and bumpkins. Oh my. Yep.
No, not even.
Well,
shout out to my sister Renee. So I gotta tell you about that one too.
Oh boy, there's a lot. We're name dropping early. It's okay. But here on the Wrestling Realm podcast, every time we start this show, we have got to take a moment to take a quick step back in time. And not just today, we're talking the day before, because every day before Wednesday is, as I recollect, a Tuesday. And every Tuesday, that means a particular show shows up on its platform that embodies everything championship culture related. The one, the only. Can you imagine what show I'm talking about? Yes, you guessed it. Championship culture. And yes, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. That is where you can find the latest, the greatest, the newest, the strongest, the most empowered championship conversations in all of the internet wrestling community. That's right, championship culture. That's where Brandon the Guy and super producer Brother Hugh has a third. They break down, they diagnose, they describe, they get into everything championship culture related. or everything culturally related to championships, henceforth the name Championship Culture. And this week was no different than many other weeks, as they have officially announced they are winding down season 3. But because the brothers are here, I will do them a solid and say, good brothers, what was this Tuesday's episode of Championship Culture all about?
Oh, my brother, testify. It was the battle of the red and the blue belts.
Oh boy.
And when we say red and blue, the Raw and the SmackDown Women's Championship. Not only the history, but also, I think we delve into who wore better. Would you say that? Is that true, Hugh? Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so this Tuesday, we definitely took a dive into that. Raw versus SmackDown, the Women's Championship. 2016 shook up the foundation of what women's wrestling was. When Divas title retire, and we saw the emergence of 2 championships that will define the women's wrestling as we know it today. So, ooh, buddy.
Did y'all
Yeah.
talk about the glow belts?
Oh, did we talk?
absolutely.
Oh, go ahead. You tell them. Did you talk
We
about
had
the
to
glow belt?
we had to mention the glow belt. That was the best part of that lackluster design.
Whoa!
I'm sorry. Just give me a moment for a second. 'Cause he's on one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's
Yeah.
a true heel fashion.
How's a heel faction? I just said, he's
no,
talking
no.
about one of the greatest designs. The glow belt.
Look, man. The network logo design in general is so whack to me. It's too simple. It's too clean for me. It doesn't give me that traditional prestigious feel when you look at it. The only version of it that I really like, well, actually 2. One is the glow, and 3 if you want to mention the current women's championship, WWE championship, and of course the men's WWE championship. That gold, it just hits different.
Yeah.
So I enjoy those.
It hit
2, but the
different
actual-
last year around this time.
True. Also, yes, very true. But it's just something about the shape of that main plate. And like I said on Championship Culture, you would think I like it because I'm a huge baseball fan, and it's in the shape of home plate. But no, it doesn't do it for me.
I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness.
He had to add that
You
part in
guys are
there
great.
about the home plate. I think that was one of the highlights. I couldn't even keep it there. I said he just called it
Now,
the home
brother
plate.
Hugh will be sitting up there putting the belt on the ground, taking practice swings. Like,
Hey,
That'd be a cool
yeah,
photo op, though. That help on home
it
plate.
would be right.
Don't give Triple H no ideas.
Shoot, they got the baseball ones already out. So
Right.
Right.
I watched them give away the belts. I watched them give like Kevin Durant his belt, and a couple of like the women from LSU their belts. Like the look on their faces. So you imagine like a belt in a home plate. You give like the Orioles their belts when they win the World Series this year. Man, they'll go crazy.
Why you
No, you
pause?
keep speaking into existence. He rolled his eyes. That's cool. A lot of people didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't roll
fine.
my eyes. I just
No, I mean, you looked off into the distance. I don't know how to.
because I don't want to be attached, but I love that team.
Look, I think he's been converted.
To what?
He's a pinstripe. He's a pinstripe. fan
Never.
now.
No. Mm-mm.
You Yankee.
That's not what I
Yeah,
heard.
Pinstripe.
is that what you said?
I do the converting.
Pinstripe. Pinstripe.
Look, we'll see if somebody listening. I do the converting. So she's an Orioles fan now. We
See?
got proof. Her
No,
in
it's
the
cool.
jersey.
There he
in the
goes again.
stadium.
Mhm.
Gunnar Henderson. Home run. Gunnar Henderson. Ball game.
There you go. Well, in New
Mhm.
York. Well,
New York.
as we talk about these women championships,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of obvious at what point happens when the brothers from Championship Culture describe what their show is about. And for those that may not be familiar with this show, which I know that you are, I have to reiterate every week that when I cannot be on the show, when I cannot disrupt the show in the comments because sometimes the technology doesn't keep up, my comments don't come up fast enough, I sit back and I
You just
take
what?
notes so I can come on this show and describe all of my feelings about what the episode of Championship Culture was about. So if you can't figure out what I'm trying to say, that's a very long and roundabout way of me saying what I say every goddamn week after an episode of Championship Culture. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got notes. Well, you've heard the excitement and the yippee. So, like I said, I've got notes. Brian H is waiting for me to do this, so I might as well get it done. Sorry, Brian H.
My
I hate to
poor
add to your,
audience ears.
I know. I hate to add to your audio woes. I do it every week, and I shouldn't. That's very sensitive of me, and I apologize, but I have to.
It's the gimmick now.
The
It's the
bingo,
gimmick.
you sell everything. It's
No,
part of the
good
gimmick,
well.
brother.
Yeah. Works the gimmick. I'm
So-
selling.
What were my notes on this week's episode of Championship Culture as we discussed the WWE Women's Championship? Now, I cringed at the fact, even when I looked at the thumbnail and they named it the Raw/SmackDown Championships. I was never a fan of the way they described the women's championships when they had the official brand split. Now, don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
It's always awkward when you have one belt designed beautifully and it's one way, right? And then you decide, hey, we got to create a similar version to kind of match the brand that this is on. And you have a blue one. So you got a red one and you got a blue one. Okay, cool. I did not mind the fact that we described these championships as the WWE Women's Champion of Raw or the WWE Women's Champion of SmackDown. But when it started to be referred to as the Raw champion and the Smack, I said, that's so freaking weak, because now you're not even the champion of the entire company. You're only a champion of a show of the company. And it's, to me, it always limits your outlook. So like, at least when you now have the WWE Championship and you have the World Championship, see, one describes an entire universe and one describes a company that's just as big as the universe. So it's equal. It balances each other out. So I was never a fan of people. I don't remember them actually calling it that, but it was always referred to that, obviously, because of the color of the championships. And it was almost like rinse and repeat.
Mhm.
So you say, well, what's the biggest deal about that? Here's the catch-22 when you do the rinse and repeat method. On one hand, you say, well, if we make all the world champions look equal, it doesn't diminish or make one look more important than the other, right? The same respect that the WWE champion / Universal champion would have gotten is the same respect that the women's champion of SmackDown will get and the women's champion of Raw. One doesn't look any different than the other, and we don't have to really design anything new. Now, when they first decided to split and they had the WWE championship, if they would have introduced a new championship besides what we call the World Heavyweight Championship, what we call it affectionately in the belt community, the Big Gold, it probably wouldn't have been looked at the same way. But the Big Gold carried a certain prestige, even if it was just in look and maybe not history. But when you saw the championship, you never looked at it as a downgrade. At one point, I can argue that that championship was more important than the WWE championship, but that's not what this episode of Championship Culture was all about. So you look at the colors of the championship, they never bothered me as long as they weren't in the same room with each other. Because then when they're in the same ring, you're like, okay, here's the red one, here's the blue one. You're taking the red pill or the blue pill. One takes you further into the rabbit hole, the other one you wake up from the Matrix. That was the vibes that I got. So I never really minded. Now, but this is Brother Hugh's favorite conversation, the strap. Does the strap matter? I'll admit, sometimes a white strap always adds a sense of elegance to any championship, male or female. And because usually women are associated with elegance, that's why sometimes to differentiate the championships, a white strap is often, delegated for women's championships, at least in WWE. It's not the case everywhere, but in WWE's, case, a white strap is always used because it's just a natural, clean aesthetic that, like I said, it has a very elegant look in it. So naturally, we look at I can't imagine what AEW's women's championship will look like on a white strap, especially being held by timeless Tony Storm right now. But there you have it. So those are my notes from this week's episode of Championship Culture. I'm not going to get to the details of the show because I want you to go back and watch it. So we used to give you all the meat and potatoes, but no, I want you get a slight preview. Go to youtube.com/wrestling and click on the playlist Championship Culture, and you can catch up on this episode as well as the rest of the episodes in season 3 and season 2, bonus episodes, and more. So yes, you don't want to miss out on it. Like I said, season 3 is winding down, and I can only imagine what the brothers have lined up for season 4 as Championship Culture continues to grow and continues to make lay its footprints and its DNA and its community of this internet wrestling community that we all partake in. So there you have it. I forgot to do this last week, but I won't forget it to do this week.
Brodus, got a question for you.
Hold on. Yippee! There it is.
Question for you.
The guy.
Would you have felt the same way if we had the WWE Women's Championship and the WWE Women's Universal Championship?
Yes, it's because I'm assuming I don't think anything would have changed about the look. It would just only be a change in title, right? So
the name.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it would look the same. One thing you would change on the championship belt was the actual name, but I still think it would look white. It would still have hint of red on the back or hint of blue in the back. And I'm like, all right, well, there it is. And I think I've always thought that Universal Championship was a strong name, but for me, it was supposed to be a standalone title. But I'm also a fan of, I remember one of my favorite championship belts is the Universal World Championship that was used in Puerto Rico in Carlos Colon's promotion. I have a wrestling book that talks about wrestling memorabilia, and that was the first time I saw a championship labeled as the Universal Wrestling Championship. And I said, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So me being a belt guy and a historian, that was one of the main things that I enjoyed about it. But it was a standalone championship, not necessarily a kind of carbon copy of a archetype which already existed, but we just add a different strap color or a different paint job. Oh, and then the name kind of doesn't really mean anything until somebody like Roman holds it and makes it mean something on a different level than originally it was. No, that's cool. You heard Roman Reigns' name and now you want to say something about it.
Right. Yeah,
I was listening, but I thought
I can tell. I know. You perked up when you heard Roman's name. I swear, you bloodline people. No, that's cool.
Shit, shout out to Naomi.
And the only reason I say that because this is the last thing I know we're gonna move on because that probably would have solved the situation of, we switched brands, we got to change the belt. Here, flip flop.
That was awkward.
Belts.
Yep, that was awkward.
It was always awkward.
Yep, that was awkward. So, like I said, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., youtube.com/WrestlingRealm. You can catch it also on Facebook if you go to our Wrestling Realm Facebook channel and also on our X page. It goes live on next week. So I'm giving you all tidbits. You have no reason not to catch this show. I'm only curious to figure out what next week's show is all about, especially, obviously we're in Women's History Month, which plays a huge factor, but we're also on the road to WrestleMania. So trust me, this is not the time to be missing out on pro wrestling content. But you know what? It's also not the time to miss out. It's not time to miss out on a segment that we do every other week known as Unpopular Opinion. That's right. In order for the fans to understand their host and get to know us better as wrestling fans so they can learn who they relate to, who they like the most, we have introduced 2 new segments. One is called Wrestling Realm Facts, where we introduce a question, and this question usually answers something about each of the hosts of the Wrestling Realm, so you get a better idea of who we are as wrestling fans. And then we do another one, an alternating segment, the following week, known as Unpopular Opinion. Now, this is a segment where each host will give an unpopular opinion about the wrestling business, industry, whatever you want to call it. And guess what? You have to sit there, just take it. There's no arguing. There's no going back and forth. There's no extra conversation about it. They just going to give their unpopular opinion, and you got to sit there and deal with it. And guess what? That is where we are this week. So, no further ado, gentlemen, are you guys ready to unveil your unpopular opinions for this week upon the wrestling world who is listening to the show? Also, I put in my notes, shout out to you championship culture guys in the face reference. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I think that's where I got my sound effects from, subconsciously, and didn't even know it. So I was like, oh, shoot, that's probably where I got this from. So I was like, okay, I knew it was. He enjoyed it so much, he forgot he hit the wrong button 3 or 4 times. Anyway.
Right. I sure did.
So, who wants to go first? Brian H., are you biting at the chomp? Because you
pick me.
Oh God.
Pick me.
No, you start off. You be going too hot. Nobody can follow you up.
Yeah, this was not that bad. This was not that bad.
The last time we let Brother Hugh go first, bro, the whole rest of the episode was just negative.
It was a whole negativity. It took a whole turn for the wait a minute, what? And we kept
everybody tried so hard to focus not to argue with what he said, but I was like, "Oh, this is going to be harder than I anticipated."
The year though,
that was the worst part. I said, "Bro, out of all years, you didn't say 2002. You just picked anyway." So yes,
8 and 9.
Oh my gosh, I'm not doing it. Anyways, so let's make Brother Guy go first. Brother, you're definitely not going first. We're We got to deal with enough negativity. We got to figure out John Cena. Are you okay, Brian? You having a conniption over there?
Yo,
It's the weather change. That's what it is.
yeah, and I'm like, all of a sudden, the last thing I want to do is be sniffling in a microphone.
Oh my gosh. Brian H's system is officially noticing that plants are coming alive. Like, look, brother, you had to get off the screen. But something inside
He's
him said,
cracking up.
oh
Spring
no,
is in 2 days.
there's dandelions somewhere. I smell leaves and pollen
Right.
and bees.
It's good.
Anyway,
It feel like summer.
so
Spring is happening. Okay.
oops. That means hold
Okay.
on. Let me reset that. So let me just, because we're about to cook. You heard that? There you go. See how I did that? Yeah. Who wants to give the unpopular opinion for this week?
Start, because when you run your sound effects, you sound muffled. So you got to wait for the sound effects to finish, then talk.
I thought it was over. My bad. This is why I need a new microphone, because I don't like that.
It's the thing is, so you probably you wouldn't notice it's a button. I gotta look at it to tell you which button it is. But I think it's like loop back or whatever. But
you're absolutely right, because I noticed it on the playbacks. So anyway, like I said, thank you, Brian.
Cut 3, 2, 1.
And we're back. It's like, no. So we're sizzling, we're cooking. Who wants to give their unpopular opinion for this week? Brother Hugh is anxious to go first, and nobody else is saying anything. So, like, y'all leave him. Okay, let Brian go first.
Right.
Well, like I said, it's WrestleMania season. And if you know
here we go.
anything about me, you know that I like WrestleManias that end in the number 9. I mean, I got the shirt for $39. I was playing WWE 2K and it warmed my heart, and that we could go to that oh so great place, that oh so hollow ground. And this particular WrestleMania
parking lot
that I'm going to talk about today took place at a beautiful venue. The house that should have been the house of the greatest Major League Baseball player of all time, but he went on the greener pastures.
Randy Johnson?
Him too, but no, Ken Griffey Jr. See, y'all thought I was going to say something about WrestleMania 9. No. I'm going 10 years later to make my unpopular opinion that WrestleMania 19.
You got to wait for the drum roll. We got to build anticipation. You ready? Hold on. Drum roll, please. There it is. Brian is ready to go into it. No, let me get you. I'm cue you up. You ready?
Yep. That WrestleMania 19 is better than the WrestleMania that the WWE Universe holds in high regards, WrestleMania 17.
Hollywood.
So he's gonna be a heel all show. Now that's cool.
mean,
that's what he does. I'm not saying.
Let's go back in the archives. Let's go back to season 2.
Come on now.
We did these WrestleManias, and you remember on the set, on the original Wrestling Realm set.
Well, all them DVDs spread out.
Yeah, I convinced you that this was a great WrestleMania.
I want to see the footage.
The intro to 17 was better than daggone the whole 19.
Thank you.
Just the intro by itself.
No, you breaking the rules. You're breaking the rules.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Look, he couldn't help himself. He's definitely breaking the rules.
You can't catch me. You can't check me.
That's right. Now you know how it feels, Brother Hugh. Now sit there and deal with it.
Yeah. You gotta suck out you.
Although I
as
agree
I
with you,
watch
Brother
it
Hugh.
right now, it's one of the semi-main events because this had 4 main events. I try to tell y'all.
I mean, you can call it main events if you want.
5 main events. 5 main events because you know.
If you got 5 minutes, let me show. No, we can't comment. Okay.
Me and HBK, we stole the show. It was the match of the night. I don't care what anybody says. We was the match of the night. And we had the best story. Whatever.
I mean,
But it's time for the next person because he's gonna keep going on and on and on.
And I'm watching the match. Two canceled gentlemen, but they put on a hell of a match that night.
I learned that night. I'm not gonna speak on what Brandon said. Say I did not like wrestling. This is an awkward time for me. This is at my cleaner phase.
So I always tell you, got to think about where you was in this situation.
Brandon cheats because he knows this is when Shawn Michaels had his good outfit on,
He did.
And you know, this was like he was officially back by this point. Like he was
Yep.
like, okay, Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels again.
Should have put a world title on him, but go ahead.
And this was an awkward time for me because I was like tiptoeing and I was watching it, but I wasn't committed to it. So I was on and off again with wrestling.
So you was like the way you are with tag team wrestling? Because
No,
you know with the profits, man. I see what you go, Chain. I see you want to get back in. You've been protesting.
I'm sorry. There's new champions. I had no idea.
You want to see you want to get back in there. Come on,
trying to dip the toe in the water real quick.
That new attitude of the Street Profits. They got new gear. Angelo Dawkins he's still kind of dressing like he about to go hoop, but that's not it's all black though.
No, I saw the footage. When I saw the picture, I said, these guys sure look like the Good Brothers. But anyway, because that's how they dress. That's right. I said, wow.
Hey, realness. Crazy. Who was women's champion at WrestleMania 19? Who walked in?
I don't know. Lita.
I know who walked out. Whoa, it's time to rock and roll.
Victoria walked in as champion.
Oh boy, I learned that I did not like WrestleManias at baseball stadiums. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why.
Wrong.
Do you guys remember?
Wrong.
Do you guys remember?
You like 17.
Hear me out though. That's always grandfathered in. 17 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I'm not going to speak to your point. I'm not going to speak to your point because I'm not going to cheat. But
that was a baseball stadium.
My way or the highway.
It was.
This time I'm gonna let it go. This time I'm gonna stand up.
That WrestleMania is. I'm not gonna anyway.
Wait, you don't like Toronto? No, wait. We can talk about the stadium. And I got to get to the bottom of this. You ain't like Toronto?
No.
The Sky Dome, neither one of them. WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 18. That had the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Hogan and Rock.
WrestleMania, and that's the only thing I remember from that WrestleMania.
That's it.
But you saying aesthetics, not the WrestleMania, the aesthetics. That was a beautiful stadium, and Nintendo GameCube did it justice. The system, the game system that you always talk about, Nintendo, they did it great justice.
Here's the problem. Maybe I just don't like Safeco Field. Is that a good compromise? Maybe
that's a good compromise. I take it. I love it.
Okay.
They should have had the train running. That would have been a nice,
They had promos. Booker T sitting on the step. Kurt Angle sitting on the steps, rocking. See, I'm taking y'all back. Booker T jump roping his dreads bouncing in his face. While he's
don't forget the women, the pillow fight.
Anyways, all right, of course.
We had John Cena rapping against Fabulous and Jay-Z in the pre-show.
Don't sell us this. We had to deal with you WrestleMania 9. Don't try to sell us.
WrestleMania 19 was great, man. They had 4-5 main events. I rushed from home on church that Sunday to get back to watch this one.
I agree with
you. Like you said, just got her car. Boom.
I agree with you, Brian H. No, it's cool. I agree with you. Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho had an excellent match at WrestleMania 19, and that's just. I know that's what you're really trying to say, and I get it.
They did. I don't think they stole the show. I think they was a part of the show, but I don't think they stealing the show means
we're gonna have a new Russ. We got to do an extra show, Russ and Wrealm arguments, or like Stephen A. and Skip Bayless style, because we got to debate these things. Because you come in with all the facts, and you're forcing me to think about facts too. Because wait a minute,
because I have my PhD in WrestleMania.
You do though.
Study this every year. You ask me a question. I'm 90%. I'm sure I can name it.
I told you you're the Schwabe. That's why I wanted to go on Four Sides of the Ring trivia, because I said, bro, the Brian Nix. He's like the Schwabe of professional wrestling. He watches this stuff on the daily.
And I talk to Corey every day. So if that dude will always feed information, just random facts. Shout out to my big brother Corey.
You guys both do that thing, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. And then there's a fact, and there's a date, and then there's all this kind of stuff.
Ain't no competition. You just shake the brother's hand like, yo, let's go get it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna get him.
I just wish they would have said that at WrestleMania 9. Anyway, it's no competition for a parking lot and the elephant coming in.
It was better than WCW at the time.
Okay, yeah.
That's why Jim Ross came over. His debut show, WrestleMania 9, Random Facts.
And what they happened doing? Wearing a toga and some and a freaking,
it was epic.
Some trees in his hair. Anyway.
Macho Man, Macho Toga, Lex Luger, the narcissist. See, I ain't even going in there. But let's hear some more unpopular opinions.
Okay, let's move on to the next part.
I ain't talk about WrestleMania 9 all day. I think I might do that for the patrons.
I hope you do. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to make all the comments and just let it rip.
Now, I'm gonna be generous. I'm going to get that for free. I'm going to do a whole review on WrestleMania 9.
We have to do it. We have to do a debate show because I'm from
Yeah,
Baltimore.
four sides of the ring in the house.
My level.
Tell them put some respect on WrestleMania 9, but more so 19 for this conversation.
My level of hateration has gone through the roof because of that outburst. I'm going to try to find every. I'm trying to find every reason to argue with you about this, one way or another. And I'm going to purposely go back and watch WrestleMania 19 just to find points to prove to you that why what you said is wrong. I'm not going to do it here.
What's wrong with it?
No.
Nothing. It was a great WrestleMania.
What's right with it?
Shawn
What
Michaels
you
versus
mean? Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle to close the show. What a night! If Lesnar hits that thing,
I'm sorry.
we'd be
Did you
talking.
say
That
it?
would if
Shooting star.
the match didn't need it, but if he would have hit it, we would have been saying that was one of the greatest matches of all time.
Okay.
It triggered the match.
Anyways, I'm not going to argue with you about
And
this.
the right,
Because
my first unpopular opinion goes back to this. The right person won between Booker T and Triple H.
at that time, yes, because I didn't like Triple H at the time. His dreads was too skinny. Brother Hugh.
That's Piper.
brother.
Piper's here.
Let's go to you, Brother Hugh. Because he
No, because he about to say something crazy. I had to get
Brother-
all my shine in.
Bro,
He about to bury me, brother. I had to get my
Brother
stuff
Hugh
in.
was about to argue full-fledged.
He was ready. Like how we felt when you said that thing you said.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Okay, there we
Wow,
go.
bro.
See, Brian's got a chance to go first this time. This is why we do this, because people need to see the real. This is what goes on camera and off camera, whether it's in text or in conversation. But it's okay, because this is the people get a chance to see how we really get down. Brother Hugh, are you ready for your unpopular opinion this week? Brian has probably messed me up for the entire show. I got to focus because now.
This is good.
Nah, it's cool though.
This is a good epic
bro.
opinion.
Yeah. He threw me off with that.
Brother, you ain't no good either though, because nobody forgot what you said when we started this guy.
See, I almost canceled this segment.
He was like, all right, we're not doing this. I was like, this is harder. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think he was going to come out the gate swinging like that, but it's okay. But Brother Hugh, your turn. You're on the clock. What is your unpopular opinion for this week? If we follow restaurant facts, it's always this one though. It's always this one. It's fine.
Yep.
Next week we'll go back to peaceful fun facts. With Brother Hugh.
Right.
What is your unpopular? Are you ready for your unpopular opinion this week?
Let's go with it. Let's go.
Here we go. Drum roll, please.
The TNA X Division Championship is and has always been more important than the Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, ouch, ouch. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Ooh, hold on. Oh yeah. See, Brian, I waited this time to the sound effects. You guys couldn't see it, but brother guy went flying out of his chair. Oh my gosh. I thought that was gonna go in a different direction, but I was like,
Y'all blame me.
He been down that rabbit hole at TNA Plus. That's what that means.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what
it is.
That's exactly what it is.
I'm just saying that he went down that
research.
rabbit. And plus, he been listening to me about this, said Doug, but I didn't know it was going to be that extreme.
Wow.
Oh, Black Betty, man, my lamb. Oh, Black Betty,
Oh
man,
my
my
God.
lamb.
Wow.
Okay, so I
Ouch.
kind of really want to get mine now because
No, you're on the
Okay.
clock, brother guy.
So,
It's right to you. Are you
so
ready?
I got to set it up. Yeah, let me
Yeah,
set
go
it
ahead.
up real quick.
Go
So
ahead.
I hate that I have to say this because I
Uh-oh.
feel like I'm putting the person in the news and they shouldn't be. But Hulk Hogan killed TNA.
So you weren't even gonna wait for the drum roll or nothing. You just
Nope. I just wanted to put it out there. Yep.
I mean, that's a
Wait for
Great.
that
Now
to
we
come
gotta
out.
have a graphic of Hogan.
Yep. That's why I hate to say because he said something great about TNA. But I was going to say, it's tough to watch when
Brian,
he
this
was there.
picture, use the one
It-
from the
it
real
was-
American Beer ad. With him
Right.
at the top, Mount Rushmore with the Eagles flying behind him.
It was so tough to watch.
Oof.
That's such
Dang,
a
well,
skippable time.
You don't have to do a graphic with him on it. You can just have like an empty chair, because he left the fans hanging.
Nope.
That is
He going
That is
on the
signing.
graphic. He going on the
Oof.
graphic.
Wow. But there it is. Brother guy didn't even wait for the drum roll. but Hulk
Mm.
Hogan killed
I just wanted
TNA.
to get
You
it
know
up.
what? Oof, oof. Got some heavy hitters. Brian H, this is your fault. You started off, and now, brother, you follow, and brother guy. So it's my turn. Realness is on the clock. Like mine seems so lackluster every time I let you guys go
Because
first.
you go last.
See, I don't
Right.
mind going last because I try to be gentle, but you guys don't care. You just don't care. So, realness, you're on the clock. Drum roll, please. My unpopular opinion for this week is. Hold on, time out. I just saw a picture of Sting and and old Hogan and TNA. I'm sorry, this is a real bad idea. Who put this in here? Anyway, my unpopular opinion this week is that you guys ready? If Rob Van Dam did not get suspended for speeding while weeding, he would have been a better WWE champion than the rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, aka Edge. That's it. That's all.
Coach.
That's
Coach.
it's supposed to be an unpopular opinion, not facts. This is not realness
Out.
reaction, realness facts.
I mean, you dropped a fact too. What you talking about?
Bro,
Well,
realness.
clearly we
Well,
chose
thanks,
violence
Chris.
this week.
We definitely
Wow.
did.
I think we're all in the spirit of being heels based off this week's unpopular opinion segment. Wow, that was fun. Well, I think we spawned enough negativity and we put out enough wrestling facts to prepare us to get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's show, which is we're going to address John Cena. He finally speaks. He cuts a promo. We're going to talk about, did we believe him? Is what he said true? Is this a toxic relationship coming to an end? And we're also going to compare his promo to a lot of other famous post-turning heel promos, and of course, talk about some of our favorite heel turns. But in order to do that, we always have to ask our good friends, our co-hosts, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, to help us get this show started right. Gentlemen, can you do us the solid and ring the bell so we may get this conversation started? Gentlemen?
Want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
So, of course, every time we start the show, we always start off hot with what did you watch? Now, what did you watch? It is a conversation about what we watched this week to get ourselves ready to have the best possible pro wrestling conversation necessary to engage the listeners each and every week. And this week is no different. So let's just jump right into it. What did you watch? Brought to you by good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? Who wants to go fast? What did you watch this week? Good brother. Well, clearly, brother Hugh, you went down a teenage rabbit hole again. He literally said the X Division Championship lineage is way more important than Tina's work. Ooh,
I've been dabbling in Evolve.
Really?
I've been watching Evolve. Yeah, I like that.
We talking about this new version of Evolve, or we talking about some old stuff? Okay, talk to us about it, brother, because I haven't had a chance to really dig into it the way I want to yet. But tell us about Evolve.
I mean, I see a couple of prospects that I like right away, like Miss Callie Armstrong,
yes,
Keanu
indeed.
Carver. That's I call him Baby Obafemi. But yeah, I like what I see so far. The first couple of episodes is just kind of introducing us to everybody and letting everybody get their match in to get their little shot, their showcase in the ring. But I'm eager to see where this show goes down the road once everybody has actually been introduced, and see if maybe we maybe bring in some more storylines or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice show. It's a nice show.
Now, question for you: Is this
Mhm.
now the people that's on the show? Are these the people that had WWE have ID'd, or is this just a whole fresh crop of new talent?
I
It
did.
seems like most of the
Okay,
ID people, but it's some
Well,
all right.
random people
yeah,
too. It's still
yeah.
some random
It's
people in there.
it's a couple of
What's,
it's a
what's the
couple of
mix?
randoms in there, but it's mostly ID and then NXT stars that are not being used on
Okay, got
NXT.
it, got it. Because didn't they get rid of NXT Level Up? They're not doing it no more, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
level
not
up
doing
is
that.
Got it.
gone.
I'm okay with that because I think it's cool that you find new creative ways to use
Mhm.
talent and help them get exposure and all that kind of stuff. No, that's pretty cool. So that
They
is
got a whole new crop of sisters on there too. I'm
okay.
just
Yeah, you
saying.
said that. You
Uh,
said that with a little sauce on it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's some black girl magic happening.
That's because
It's a lot of it.
my good friend HBK, man, his Internet Explorer page is working.
You're right. You're
Bro.
right.
In an Explorer. Anyways, I was about to say, don't make me hit the music.
Hey, no.
I knew Brian was gonna say that. Yes, we're monetized now. We can't do that. But I knew as soon as I
He's
hit
about to make brother guy was about to bring up the sex.
the sax man was about to make a comeback. The live
Right.
band man.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah, he thought
The instrumental version.
we are still waiting on the video of brother guy doing
Right.
saxophone covers of his favorite wrestling themes. We need strobe lights and sunglasses. So that's
Mhm.
whatever. I don't care how you do it, but make
Hey
sure you
guys,
have sunglasses on and you have a strobe
Play
light. Or like,
Judas.
that's how we get over, bro.
hey, listen, that's you talking about content. You ain't got to worry about getting views because I'm gonna watch it like 10,000 times as it is, and it's gonna be on
It's
playback
gonna
for
be on
the show.
repeat.
So every time you make a good point, we're gonna play that clip on the show. But yeah, so maybe lose my train of thought.
What we watched this week.
What did we watch here?
Yes, what do we watch this week, brother guy? Let's go to you, the live band man,
So,
the sax man. What did you watch this week, sir?
as you can tell, I went and watched some of my favorites, and I I very rarely rewatch like a gimmick match unless it's like I can remember like certain points of it, like a Hell in a Cell. But I went back and watched Money in the Bank because
Which one?
it was the one 2019 that
Okay.
when Becky Two Belts walked in and Bailey walked out with the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Mhm.
And I watched it because I realized that both of those matches with Becky and what's her name? Oh man, Lacey Evans for the Raw title was good.
Gosh.
And it was it was good, but then it was like her and Charlotte was like, oh, this is what they were holding out for. You know what I mean? Then it was Bailey came down, cashed in her ladder match. I didn't, it has this feeling of, all right, you kind of want Bailey to win and feel like, okay, maybe she's not, oh, they gave it to us. So the anticipation is still there, watching it, rewatching it. But I could only find clips. I was trying to find the match that her and Charlotte had on SmackDown when she won the title back. I can only find
Right.
highlights because I remember vaguely that she came out with a new persona
Yep.
and she did the roll up victory and it was like, oh, she got it back. So it was kind of like oh yeah, this is the new gritty Bailey, but you didn't see it from Money in the Bank to that SmackDown. You had no clue that this was about to happen. It was just like Charlotte took the belt, then it was like she cut her hair. So I just want to say, did I miss something? So I went back down that rabbit hole. But it
Okay.
really was nothing. It was just okay, it's a change. So I would definitely recommend go back and watch that pay-per-view because I hate to say it. Sometimes the women's ladder match delivers more than the men, but
Mhm.
because of the moments, those moments sometimes are like, oh, that was impressive. The men did do good, but it's like now to the point, just like the Elimination Chamber, we never know who's going to be the steal the show. And I
There
feel
you
like
go.
their women's ladder matches have more of those moments. I'm like, I'll go back and want to watch one of those faster than I will the men's.
Okay. Fair enough. Sounds like good stuff. See, this is why I like this part of the show because especially when we go back and watch old stuff, it makes me go, "Oh, I forgot about that." You know what? That's good enough content because the way that the streaming services are set up, I don't like going to Peacock to find these things, but thankfully
Man.
Right.
WWE Vault now that's like uploading just straight matches, so we don't got to sit there and go through that kind of the hubbub of trying to find stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. That's why I like doing this. But
And
Brian, did
just
you?
something real quick
Mhm.
to witness. Funny, I totally forgot about it until it came
Uh-oh.
across my YouTube.
Mhm.
Remember when they did the men's and the women's Money in the Ladder match together, and Oscar started off, and
Yeah.
she was doing that
Oh
little,
yeah.
and she jumped on. I was like, why did I forget that this match was fun? Like everything, and it was like Oscar doing that dance at the beginning and kicking the man. I was like, why is she so entertaining? Because that's who came up. It was like one of the most unique Money in the Bank match, Money in the Bank matches, because it was both at the same time. So
Wow.
You know
please
what's
go back and
crazy?
watch it. It was
I've never seen that match.
Really?
it's entertaining.
I'm dead serious.
It's fun.
Rey
I've
That's
Mysterio
never
got
seen
exactly
it.
it.
thrown. It's fun. Rey Mysterio got thrown off the top of the roof onto a smaller roof. He
Yeah.
thought he
The,
killed
the,
him, but
the
it was like, oh
pandemic era. A lot of
yes,
creative stuff came out of the pandemic era. I've always got a kick out of AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan fighting into Vince's office. He's
it's
like,
in his office.
excuse me, mug, with that fake mug. He's like, what are you guys doing? Get out. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. And
because
then
it was like
Daniel Bryan like goes like, he goes back and he tucks the chair in and walks out. I said, this is what I'm talking about. This is the level of creativity we
it's
need.
fun.
But yeah, but
And when you see
Bryan
the
is,
start of it, you'll crack up laughing because they
oh yeah,
introduced each superstar, and Oscar's at the top of like I don't know what it was. It was like just at the top part of like the where they were introducing everybody, and she
yeah,
just jumped on everybody and started dancing, and you had to climb. You had to literally get to the top of the is it
the
called Titan
tower.
Towers? What was it called? Yeah. So they started on the base level, and then they was riding elevators up, stopping on each floor, running in different people. It was a bunch of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon, would you like me to go
Yeah,
while you
you
taking care
go.
of business?
You go.
Okay. So, what did I watch this week? I unintentionally went down a WrestleMania 14 rabbit hole. Now, it's not my fault. I blame the vault. It's because first, I forgot what it was. First, I watched Undertaker and Kane. You're gonna like this, brother Hugh. They went back and
Yes,
they did
sir.
the watch along. They went back and they watched their WrestleMania 14 match. Anytime you get Undertaker and Kane in the same room, especially nowadays, it's his brother. He's laughing for a reason. It's pure gold. It's because these two guys are older, and the level of transparency that they have now, and you can tell they still love each other, and they joke about certain things, and just
He
watching
said,
their
"Oh,
match.
you got me, brother."
Yeah. Undertaker is a ball of fun, and Kane is all into it, and of course them talking about Paul Bearer in the midst of it all, and how he got hurt, and they talk about Pete Rose and the whole thing happened, and just anytime you see, Triple H knows as wrestling fans we're nosy, and we like to pull back the curtain. And man, Triple H, the Undertaker and Kane did an amazing job. And then, if you will, a few days later, they uploaded one of my favorite matches of all time, a match that Stone Cold says was not one of his best matches, but I still don't see anything wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, I noticed the difference in it versus other matches, but I'm like, bro, this is one of my favorite matches of all time. It's
SummerSlam.
it's the main event for WrestleMania 14. Shawn Michaels
Oh
and Stone
yeah,
Cold
yeah,
Steve
yeah, yeah.
Austin for the WWF Championship. And even as a kid, I noticed it looked different. But Shawn Michaels, he hated that match. Like I couldn't do for Steve what I should have done or could have done it. And even Austin's like, look, man, we put the best match we could. I'm like, what y'all talking about? This is one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I loved it. So yeah, so that's what I watched this week. Like I said, I unintentionally went down this WrestleMania 14 rabbit hole, but as usual, it took me back and I enjoyed myself because I literally started watching wrestling again like maybe 2 weeks after that happened, not even realizing what was going on. I just remember I was WCWing it up really heavy, but this is around the time my brother was in middle school, so he was, whatever, he was 8 o'clock, he had the remote, and we was making it happen. And then I was like, yeah, WWE looks fake. It doesn't look like it's real. Because, of course, WCW was live. WWF Raw was taped. But I was like, I like these guys, DX. Not DX, but literally VX, like TH. I said, who's DX? Who's DX? He's like, bro, it's not DX, it's DX. I'm like, I like these guys. This is going like this. I was like, I like DX though. He's
You
like,
sound like
DX.
a little brother, yo.
I said,
Right.
who's DX? He's like, bro, it's not DX, it's DX. I'm like, DX? Who's those guys? They're cool. I like, and literally all they did was come out. All I saw was their intro. Like, they played the music and the whole group came down. But it was also the same night they peed on the motorcycles of
Bro,
I think it was it Hawk and Animals motorcycles or was it DOA's? DOA. Okay,
DOA.
so it was DOA's. It was DOA's.
Harris brothers.
The Harris brothers and who was the third one? Was Crush there? It was just the Harris brothers at the time. I think Crush was gone by then.
There was the other dude, their manager. Paul Ellering.
Yeah, that's right, Paul Ellering. So because I remember, I thought it was 3 bikes there. So yeah, so that's what I watched this week, and in good old fashioned 1998 fashion. But Brian H.
Well,
what did you watch this week, sir?
Go up one year. This morning
99.
as I was getting ready. Yeah. I actually, it's funny because I threw on WrestleMania 14 as I went to bed, and I woke up. That kind of tell you how many hours of sleep I had.
0, 2.5.
It felt like it because
1.5.
WrestleMania 15 was on, and so it was that's one of my favorites also. Especially because that was the year I like got back into wrestling after finally figuring out Shaka Saturday Night was on. And I remember Brother Hugh had a whole basketball tournament that year, and he didn't stop by WrestleMania. I don't know why. You know, I mean, he was only like 13, 12, young pup.
So you still upset about this though?
Yeah, because he was supposed to go for us. And I remember he came back to school, was like, yeah, man, I was up there. And then there's this dude who's a nephew of a basketball player claimed he went there, but he ain't go to WrestleMania. He was trying to swear us he went to WrestleMania. He thought he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he ain't go there. But yeah, I was watching that, and I was watching the part where they did the double turn, and that was one of the things I really wish I was watching that night.
What do you mean the double turn? What are you referring to?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting ready to go there. When Triple H joined, reunited with China.
Shoot, yeah,
and I can imagine if that happens. You know, it's like, oh, they back. DX is back together, only for this dude.
Yep.
Couple matches later, turn and join the corporation. You know, and I remember Brother Hugh coming to school the next day talking about it.
Why did Brother just do the Jordan fist?
Because this dude he was a Triple H fan back then.
Oh, I'm about to roast you, Brother Hugh. You was I'm gonna let Brian H finish, but I'm about to go on the tirade.
Yeah, he was a Triple H fan. Triple H a badass Billy Gunn. So yeah, that was the thing, you know, and it's always one of my favorite WrestleManias because that one felt like if you would have made an argument like going into Rock Austin, right? They said the most important WrestleMania main event in WrestleMania history. It felt like it. It was
it looked like it too.
Stars and you know, I haven't finished it yet, but I started reading the Rock's book. And when you really think about it, he's talking about going into WrestleMania 15 main eventing at a young age, at 26.
Yeah.
You know, you had 2 stars in their prime. Like Austin was in the thick of his prime. Rock was coming, and he was there, but he wasn't even at his peak yet. He was like
scratching the main event surface.
They were like Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
Rock would have been Kobe in the 2000 finals. You know, by this time, you could have made an argument he was the best player in the league all around, but Shaq was the most dominant player in the league. You know, so it was like
that's why Austin was out.
Yeah, and he proved it. So, but yeah, it's always one of my favorites to go back and watch during this time of year.
Wow. Now that's good stuff. See, I love how we went from such a negative flow as far as unpopular opinions to such positive nostalgic moments. But Brother Hugh, I got a bone to pick with you.
Look at back. Brought to you by WrestlingRealm.com, where you can get all your merchandise.
That was smooth. Brother Hugh,
that was smooth.
You like Triple H during this time period? Let me tell you why I didn't like him. Let's start there. First, I was mad because he broke up the band. I didn't care nothing about China turning on him. I was like, well, we don't need her. Bring back Shawn Michaels.
Dang.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't. I wasn't worried about it because I wanted Shawn Michaels to come back. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know he was hurt, back injury, nothing. But I'm gonna tell you what pissed me off about Triple H when he turned and joined the corporation, and like maybe I'm exaggerating, just like the book of wrestling. Maybe a week later. Yeah, because you guys ruined my childhood. So like a week
exaggerate
later,
nothing. I'm just saying.
You guys could have left it alone. So you know, like Austin 316. Yeah, the next night. So it's so like a week later, he comes out with the trunks on. I said, where is Triple H's freaking pants? Who does he think he is? I was so pissed, bro. Like I can't. When I think about it now as a grown man, I don't remember why I got that upset. When I say my whole day was ruined, like I was pissed. He broke up DX. He broke up my chances to join because when I got older, I was going to join DX. Yes, I expected them to stay together long enough for me to become a wrestler and then for me to join, like the Bullet Club.
Right.
But I'm not going to protest right now. And I was like, yo, why does he have the drawers on? Go back to the pants. And just I hated him ever since. And I did not like him until like WrestleMania 25 or something like that. That's how much I hated
Well,
Triple H.
well, I liked Triple H at that time, but that's not why I did the fist pump. I did the fist pump because he turned on X-Pac. And X-Pac, what did he do before then? He turned on my guy Kane.
Okay, so it's
So
personal.
that's the first thing that jumped in. Yes, that's the
I
first
got
thing
you.
that jumped in my head.
That's fair.
I was very
I
upset
forgot
that
about Kane.
that DX.
I did.
Right.
So, okay, all right. Well, you put it that way. Okay.
It
I
makes
get it.
sense.
That's what the fist pump
Turn
was
on
for.
Kane yet,
Nah, that was in November, bro. I
bro?
believe 98, wasn't it? Am I tripping?
Let me talk to you.
Why is it so
X
Yeah, you
loud?
better-
X
I don't know.
Pac
He is loud.
and Kane joined forces because I remember spring break. I was at my grandmother's house when they won the tag titles.
Okay.
The next month, X Pac turned on Kane the next year. You thinking of WrestleMania 2000 when X Pac slipped because you would always emulate that
Nah,
time he
that
came
had to
out there.
be. I could have sworn that's when
They was
Kane.
baby faces. Because remember, Kane was reluctant to trust him because he had trusted China with his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the month before, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, it's Triple H and X-Pac versus China and Shane McMahon.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You are
I
right.
know I'm right.
Because
So
that's
look at you.
98.
You
Yeah.
got mad at X-Pac for no reason at this time.
Exactly.
Yes. Because
You have
I
to wait
can't
a
say
year
X
later.
Pac for what he did.
The next
You-
I
year,
thought it was before. You're right. You're right.
yeah, the
Still,
next
you're right.
year,
It doesn't matter, does
you
it?
when he slipped,
I-
because you laughed
It,
at
it
him.
doesn't. It doesn't though.
That's
It
when they
still
came
doesn't.
out to the Run DMC music, him and Road Dogg.
Oh,
It was
that
X Pac, Kane, and
definitely a year later.
yeah, and
Yeah, it
Tori.
was. Because Tori
Yeah.
wasn't in the picture yet.
Yeah,
Forget her.
she
too.
was Spencer Sable. Actually, that was the last match I watched before I went to the gym. Was Tori and Sable.
Well, the bottom line is forget X Pac, Tori, and everybody else who had something to do with
And you
burying
loved
my
Sable
guy
at the
Kane.
time too.
Don't disrespect me with the Sable stuff. No, it was Jackie all day.
You like Sable? Jackie
Oh
wasn't
boy.
around.
Let's celebrate Kane saying sucker for the first time. Okay. There it is. There we go. So
Kane and his crispy
Right.
little pal.
So yeah. So we added some positivity to the mix. So there you have it. That was
Brother Hugh
what
had wrong
did
directed
you
smoke.
watch. Yeah, he definitely did. Now listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back from this break, we are going to finally get into John Cena. He finally speaks. He explains himself to the world, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite heel turns. And guess what? We might, at the end of the show, like literally at the end of the show, we might try to discuss what might happen at WrestleMania. No promises. I don't know.
Absolutely not. Not ever go. Nope. I will
I was
shut
t-
off. Y'all will have a good night.
I
And
knew-
discuss that. That
I knew
dust is
Brother
not
Guy
going
was-
to get me.
I knew Brother Guy was not going for it. That's why
I'm like,
tiptoed. I
oh,
was
it's
like, I'm not gonna say
76 this year, and we are only in March. Heck no.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
terrible.
no.
We're
This
gonna
bad.
take a quick break and come right back to it. And when we come back to it, I promise we're gonna figure out what the heck is going on with John Cena and see how this compares to the other heel turns and promos that have happened, so on and so forth. So, like I said, on the other half of this, we shall be right back.
WWE Universe is much bigger than professional wrestling fans. Here's why: because the WWE Universe includes professional wrestling fans, but also include people who just care about the story or the WWE theatrics. You will find a AEW professional wrestler fan who knows about everybody that's a WWE superstar, but you will not find someone from the WWE Universe that knows about every major professional wrestler. So you imagine how many kids would love Kenny Omega? You imagine how many people who just got into WWE again because of Netflix. Those people aren't tuning to AEW. I'm sorry. They're not checking for other wrestling because they only have a small appetite of wrestling on their plate, unlike us diehards. So they may just watch on Mondays.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a
Felt like
clip
you called
from
me out.
episode 283 of Break It Down with Brian is Keep It 100, which can be found on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Wrestling Room playlists. break it down with Brian H. So here we go, brothers. Let's get into it. But let's not waste any more time. The bell is rung. We've had our conversation. We've gotten through our segments. Let's wrap this up. Let's take this home. John freaking Cena. John Cena has made it clear that the fans of WWE, the WWE universe, have been awful people for over 20 years. And he has been subject to the abuse of the fans. And the minute he decides he's not going to take it anymore, what happens? He gets booed even more. John Cena has made up in his mind that we are terrible people and that for 20 years, 20 plus years, this has been nothing but a toxic relationship. So guess what? He's not changing anything. He's not the bad guy. It turns out we are supposed to be the bad guys, the fans. So he's not changing his music. He's not changing his t-shirts. He's not changing nothing about himself. It's because he believes that he has been unjustly targeted by fickle fans. And this is not something that's new. We've heard this 1,000 times before. But guess what? John Cena is officially sick of the WWE universe. Now, brothers, how did you guys feel about John Cena in his first heel promo, his explanation, things he had to say? Was he right? Did he make valid points? Are the fans fickle? Has this been a toxic relationship? On one hand, he says we, even the ones that have cheered him, are phony too. So the kids, he said, you guys ain't no good either. Right now, Michael Cole, clearly he waited till John Cena left. That's not funny, brother. Hugh. Who cuts a promo on children? Hogan. Even Michael Cole said, "Look, man, John Cena can say whatever he wants to say, but he said that the fans are the reasons that he was even in the position that he was in the first place." I felt like because he wanted to say, because guess what? You couldn't wrestle and you wore jean shorts, but it doesn't matter. The fans wanted you, so therefore, it is what it is. But brothers, how do we feel about John Cena's first heel promo and his explanation as to why he has left the world of being a face and has dabbled into the dark side of being a heel? Who wants to go first?
Why not? I'll go.
Brother Hugh, let's talk about this, Brother Hugh. Talk to the people. What did you think about this?
I loved it. First of all,
I knew you would, first and foremost.
As he started,
I don't know why I asked you.
When he started talking, the first thing that popped in my head is the Hogan heel turn. It gave me those type of vibes right off the top.
Okay.
But as he continued to talk, I started piecing things together. It was like, now that he said it like that, there's only one time that the fans really, truly appreciated him and supported him. And that's when he was heel. Right? When he was rapping. When he came out with that gimmick.
Yeah.
Right? That was the only time they really embraced him. That's when he blew up. They didn't like him when he had the little trunks on, the colored trunks.
Yeah,
they
was
didn't.
cutlass.
Exactly. When he got cleaned up and whatnot, and he became Super Cena, they still didn't mess with him. But like he said, he stayed loyal to them, and he stayed loyal to into his logo, his slogan: hustle, loyalty, and respect. Right? Now he's been through a lot. Yes, it's been an abusive relationship, 100%. Because look, this man was booed at the Hall of Fame. Think about it, bro. He was booed at a Hall of Fame. He was booed when he got injured, and remember when he had the big tennis ball on his arm, and he announced that, look, I got to take some time off. They booed the hell out of him, right? Then, not to mention one night stand. Come on now, like when did they show him love?
They threw his shirt back at him.
Exactly. This guy stayed
Cena
loyal
wins
to
with
them.
Ryan.
No matter what, he stayed loyal. You had guys like Kane, Bray Wyatt, trying to force him to embrace the hate, right? Even Roddy Piper, he cut a promo with Cena. He cut a promo with Cena before WrestleMania 28, talking about, look, be true to yourself and tell these fans exactly how you feel. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose the biggest match in your life, right? Which was at that time at WrestleMania 28. Brother Brian, he knows we was there. The whole time we was there for that weekend. What were they talking about, Hollywood? They were talking about, look, if Cena wins, we riot.
Mhm.
Dang.
That's literally it. Signs everywhere. Everybody was saying it the whole time. We was in the club and they were saying that.
Dang. This is Miami.
Right.
Hold on. Miami was
Yes.
jumping like that. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I didn't know
So
it
I'm
was that
like,
bad. Maybe John Cena might have a point. We might not be
yes.
Even at that
They don't.
Walgreens.
That
I didn't
fake
know it was
love,
that
bro.
bad.
at the
Yes,
Walgreens
bro.
too.
The Walgreens.
Yes. Yes.
At the Clevelander.
Yes.
Wow.
The fake love, man. The fake love. And then he was left. He was left looking like this, right after the match.
Dang. Look at him
You see what I'm
defeated and
saying?
tired.
Exactly. Exactly. Not to mention the next night on Raw,
Mhm.
Brock Lesnar returns, F5 the hell out of him, beat the mess out of him,
It got to a
and the
real fight.
crowd went crazy. The
He
crowd went
busted his face
bananas for
open.
Brock Lesnar. Yes. So
John
I'm
Cena
like,
made that.
look,
He made that. Oh, so you hit me for real face. Oh, okay. All right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Busted his
So
face.
he's
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
absolutely
I'm bleeding.
not
he's
supposed to hurt.
absolutely justified for his he has all of the reasoning in the world for turning heel. Everything he said made sense. 100%.
Okay.
Mhm.
He got his little pops in here and there because he left the game. And of course when you leave for a while and then you come back, you get that
Yeah.
newfound appreciation.
Absence makes the
But
heart grow fonder.
like I say,
Mhm.
that was fake love.
Wow.
Fake love.
Okay.
And the best part, like you said earlier, he came
Mhm.
out there and said, look, I'm not changing anything about me. Why? Why? Because that's what y'all want me to do.
Right.
Y'all want
Y'all the
a new
problem, not
new
me.
music, new gear, right? So I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna have a new shirt, and you gonna continue to buy it. Everybody in the daggone crowd had that new shirt on.
Definitely was. It was rocking in Belgium. Was it? Is it
Right.
Brussels?
Brussels, yeah.
Brussels.
Yeah, Brussels.
Right.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of red in there. A lot of burgundy.
And I guarantee you those belts sold out too. Right?
You know they did.
They never made it to
Exactly.
WWE shop.
We just
Yup.
just like Brian H. He shouted out the Corey. I remember Corey was booing John Cena the whole night, and then at the end of the night, he asked for his autograph, and he's like, "Oh, you was just booing me." He's like, "Oh, come on, bro, just go ahead and sign." Oh my goodness.
But
Well, that's
I'm done
go
with
ahead.
it. 100%. He's justified, and that is possibly the best heel turn in history. To be honest,
Okay. All right. Well, listen,
it might be
we're
bigger
gonna
and
talk
better than
about
the
it.
NWO turn. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it. That's why we're having a show. This is gonna be a fun one.
Mhm.
So yeah, excellent insight, brother Hugh. So you believe that he is justified. So let's see if we can let's see if we can swing the fences. We may not. Brother Guy, how did you feel about he's ready? How did you feel about John Cena finally, after all these years, turning heel? And he had a lot to say. And based off of Brother Hugh said, I'm like, well, shoot, you got me thinking twice. Like, yeah, we ain't like, god dang, we've been treating him this bad all this time. So, but what was your take on John Cena finally joining the ranks of the superstars who are finally crossed over and be here? I think Ricky Steamboat and freaking Rey Mysterio might be the only ones who turn heel. And I don't know if you consider the Rey Mysterio turn heel when it's with the Filthy Animals. I don't think so. I think he was still sort of a face. So I don't know.
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
technically was a part of LWO by force, so he was still a baby face, but that was a
Okay.
heel group. But yeah,
Right.
as a
All right.
personal, like one on or single, nah, he was not a heel.
Okay, so Rey Mysterio still standing strong, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But brother Guy, talk to us. John Cena turning heel.
So it's crazy that I agree with you, and I'm gonna take it to another level. The simple fact that John Cena was justified, but I don't think that. So we've been so conditioned because I thought about this, right? We've
Mhm.
been so conditioned a heel turn. A heel turn means new music, new gear, new gimmick. John Cena told us at the Royal Rumble, I had to do what was best for business, but I'm going to do this. And that was his, nope, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm going to go make this movie. I'll be
I'm
back for
sick and tired of
Elimination
it.
Chamber. Look, I'm going to be back in Elimination Chamber, and I'm calling my shot because I deserve it. And what he was telling us, what I said is, I've been doing this for so long, I'm going to do what I'm owed. And the fact that
Was that a
he
heel
came
move,
out
brother
to,
Guy?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I'm taking
Mhm.
with face, you know, gonna say they always gonna chase. They're always gonna chase. He said, nope, I'm calling my shot, and that's what I'm doing. He
Mm.
did exactly what The Rock did and said, I'm gonna fight you at WrestleMania next year. So everybody else was just okay, well, how do we get there? And remember, CM Punk was a sacrifice WWE champion to say, put the title on him because we knew that was going to be our main event, right? So
True.
now that Cena is doing it, which people can argue, does he deserve it? Does he not? He put the work in, whether he was a Vince McMahon guy, the backstage politics, no matter what. He was the face of our WWE for
Mhm.
years, right? And the simple fact that we keep seeing these shirts, we keep getting these spinner belts, they're not hitting WWE shop, they selling out at the thing. You know, they only make a limited edition of them.
Right.
And when he said, "Oh, all I kept saying is, what do I get? What do I get?" I said, Triple H has broke our minds again because we were all expecting, oh, well, what is he going to do? Is it going to be a black shirt? Is it going to be this? What is he going to wear? What if he goes, all of that stuff? He said, I ain't giving you none of that because if I gave you that, you will be giving me those fake cheers. Because remember, as soon as Roman came out there, wreck
There you go.
everyone and leave, we were
Yeah.
like, this is what we've been asking for. Yes,
Right.
we were excited, right?
Yeah.
But it was like you tried to make him this baby face, blue-eyed, suffering succotash. That's not what we want. We want this, right?
I was about to
So
say
of
that sounds
course,
familiar.
yeah,
That's like a trash.
Roman couldn't get over until he gave us what we wanted. It was like, oh, that's what we needed, right? Cena's like,
Mhm.
I'm not giving you a thing. You're not getting X, Y, and Z, but me, because this is me. And guess what? It's always been me. And I feel like they came from a place of no matter what I do, I'm still gonna be wrong. So guess what? I'm gonna go do things. I'm gonna end my career on the note I want to. I'm gonna end my career the way I want to. And he
Mhm.
might want to end it the way that he started because the doctor of ergonomics is what put him into that sphere of John Cena. You know, that's really when we started noticing who Cena was because nobody cared who he was when he
He,
slapped Kurt Angle talking about ruthless aggression.
we remember
They
that
didn't
moment.
care till
Don't
he started.
downplay that.
But think about it.
I do remember it. Yeah.
We remember the
John Cena.
word life. This is
Yeah.
basic thugonomics.
Yeah,
Anybody
that's
remember that?
because he pissed everybody off looking like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I remember.
So I will say this. Not only is he
Should he have been on
justified,
that BET blacklist? Black wrestling?
Stop.
Cody didn't make it, so he couldn't.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You said
Cody
yeah.
Raheem didn't. Yeah, our black champion didn't make it.
Or Bret Hart.
I don't have a black champion.
Or Bret Hart didn't make it. So I will say this about the heel turn.
Mhm.
I think it's going to go into the record books of being the greatest heel turn because it wasn't a
Okay.
turn; it was a realization. It was
Ooh,
a
okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everybody, you can talk about all the heel turns. I know we'll get to them, but it
Mhm.
always came with something else. John Cena said, "No, it's just me," and he had been telling us. And that man said, "I'll see y'all at what you call it. I did what was best for business." So you can kind of take it as though I wanted to win the Rumble, but they told me no. So now I'm just going to win the Elimination Chamber. He could always spin it that way. I called my friend Dwayne and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and Dwayne said, "Let's do it." Who knows? You know we're gonna get a documentary come SummerSlam about what really happened between Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. You know we're gonna get
Mhm.
one. And it's
True.
gonna be,
True.
yeah, because you know what we try to do, me and Cena had talked, and this is what we decided to do. You
Trying to
know,
manipulate
it's gonna
people
be
with those
something.
interviews.
Yep. Trust me. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be the greatest because it's a realization. It's not necessarily a turn. It's a nope, this is what I'm doing.
Okay. Now that's also an interesting take. So you're saying that it's the reason behind the turn was not necessarily of hey, I'm done being a good guy. It's more like a hey, I've had enough of your crap for
Yes.
whatever reason.
Mhm.
Okay. Now some people may say
I
he's
want number
frustrated.
17. I want
Yeah.
number 17. And I'm
And he
going,
thinks it's owed to him. Like, look, I deserve this. I carried this
I
company
need
on
to
my
be the
back for
superstar
years. When
with
this
the number
company wasn't,
17.
he didn't say it, but he's like, look, when this company was in the dumps, I was the reason that we was, the ship was floating. I was the one that was making it happen. So, okay,
Right.
all right. So,
Forget them fans. I need to be loyal to myself.
well,
Yep.
especially in this last leg of his career. So,
Yeah.
And if
right,
anybody's going to get 17, he's the one that I hate to say he's the one that can do it. Because do we
there
see
you go.
anywhere else getting that close to those titles? And
There you go,
this day
speculating
and age,
about you speculating about WrestleMania. You doing it to yourself.
Ric Flair.
Nobody
I
brought
didn't
that
say
up.
Mania. I just said number 17.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't
Well,
say
he
I
Ric
said
run
number
out of
Ric Flair
time.
about
17.
to come out. Ric Flair got one more match in him.
No, he said he was done. Now,
Ric
I have
Flair,
a
He said
Flair's
looking forward to
wrestling
it.
WrestleMania weekend. He gonna be wrestling. Watch.
well, he has.
Right.
Ric
I'm,
Flair's
I'm
final
sure he's on.
match.
I'm sure he's on WWE 2K25. He can wrestle for the rest of his life.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I have a different take on all of this, and I say this strictly as a wrestling fan. I did not see this coming. If you would have told me, like when I was watching that, there was nothing about that situation that made me even think that John Cena would be the one to do this. I expected something from Travis Scott or The Rock or somebody else. But if you'd have told me it was Cena, I said, "Oh, there's no way in the world." Even all the way up to the point where he gave him a hug. But the fact that it didn't hit me until literally he was holding him and he looked at The Rock, and I was like, "Oh no, this is actually about to happen." One thing I had noticed, even from his promo, because we talk about the promo, that's when you turn heel, you got to have a good follow-up promo because everybody wants to know what's going on. The one thing I noticed is he never gave a legitimate motive as to why. He told us what he was sick of. He told us what he didn't like. He told us what he was frustrated about. But he never said why it was Cody, right? Like he never went at Gunther. He never went at The Rock. He never went at anybody. Like he, for some specific reason, went at Cody Rhodes, obviously WWE champion. I'm not blinded to that fact. But what I'm saying is, it's like, well, Cena could have cut that same promo and still not turned heel. He could have said, "I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of being left out," and then everybody would have cheered for him, even if he would have came out with a little bit of edge to him. Like, forget all this other shaking hands and kissing baby stuff. I'm here on business because I'm here to do one thing and one thing only. If fans probably would have went nuts for him. Same thing with Roman, right? Not so much cookie cutter. We cheer for Roman when he got some edge to him. No pun intended, Cope. You know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, you like what I did there. So
That was cool.
Thank you. I never saw that coming. I really didn't. And I was like, okay, John Cena. All right. Now my question is, here's my take, and I'm done because I want Branish to wrap this up because Branish has a different perspective as well. And this, for the first time, I think we're going to get 4 completely different perspectives about the same subject. So we're on a hot streak today. I don't think this is going to last long. My spoiler prediction is it's going to come down to the last little bit of John Cena's career. And at some point, he's just going to screw it and just do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, when you watch Star Wars, Brian H., you might not get this. When you watch Star Wars, Darth Vader was evil for 3 whole movies and got to the last little bit of the end of the movie. He's about to die, and he did the right thing. And for the entirety of those Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, you know, Luke Skywalker kept saying, "I feel the good in him. I feel the good. There's still a piece of my father that's in there." And everybody's like, "No, this dude's killed babies. He's blown up planet. There's no way in the world he's going to be there's nothing in him. He's done." And even the evil emperor, the guy pulling the string, said, "There's nothing good left in your father, so stop trying." He kept going, "No, I still feel something there. I feel like there's something I can turn him." And literally at the last minute, at the end of the movie, it actually happened. And I feel something similar could probably happen with
That's
John
a sucker
Cena.
move.
I'm just
You
saying,
gonna
though, it's just
stay healed. Stay healed through and through.
No, because it's
How you
it
gonna
was
do all
no,
that and then wait
I
for the
don't-
end?
Dwayne, you missed
I
a
don't-
pivotal part. That was part
I
of
don't
the
see him
story.
walking away.
You missed why he turned good. So that's what they're missing. Because remember, he had to save his son. That's why he turned good. He
Well,
couldn't
there-
say that's
you're
what
absolutely right. He
he
had a
had to save.
reason.
He had a reason, and that's what woke up the light in him to save
He was
his
like,
son.
And not to mention, the emperor kind of like offered his son his spot. "Hey, listen, kill your father and take his spot," because that's the way bad guys work. Bad guys can't coexist. "Hey, listen, I'm done with him. He's old now. You young. You take
I
him
need
out."
you.
And
You
yeah,
got your force
and I'm
is
sure he
stronger
was
than
probably
you.
like, "Bro, what you doing? Like, so you just gonna talk?" And I think he probably like, "Okay, so you never loved me in the first place." But anyway, but that's
I'm
what I'm
doing all this
thinking.
evil stuff for you.
Yeah, like, oh, wait a minute. Now we done blew up planets together. Now you trying to, oh, so my son's here and he's younger, so and he's got all his fingers and I don't. Okay, that's a Star Wars conversation. Brian H.
Yes,
I
sir.
force choked everybody for you.
Right? Like, you kidding me? I killed the babies. I killed the younglings. You kidding me? What did you think, sir, about John Cena's heel turn? Is this because you have been adamant that you saw this coming. You even did an entire video about it. You said, I saw this coming. It didn't surprise you that this happened. Like, well, what you think was going to happen? And I'm just like, really? I would have never guessed it. But you did. There were things that you broke down that you saw, like, when you put the pieces together, you could see where this was headed, especially with all the wrestling that we've seen. You know when stuff is like the New Day. You knew the New Day was going to turn heel at some point because it was like, all right, well, it was kind of obvious because they were alluding to things that showed that they were becoming different. So after a while, you're like, okay, if these guys turn, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Versus some other previous heel turns, they seem so unexpected. And I'd say that's how I felt personally with this John Cena situation. Now, what's your perspective? What did you see about this version of John Cena that made you recognize that, one, hey, this guy's probably about to turn, or two, how does he carry himself now? What do you think of heel John Cena?
Exactly what Cody called him. Exactly what Cody called him.
What did Cody call him?
A whiny.
We don't have a bleep name on it.
I know, right?
Need a bleep turn.
But I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for, like you said, it was like, I think one of y'all said it was like no reason, right? I wanted to know, why did you listen to The Rock? What was it that the final boss said? You know, was it a thing of, okay, if he doesn't sell his soul, if Cody does sell his soul, what would you have done? You know, where y'all gonna line up? I wanted to know, why did you team with the final boss? And I didn't get that. Instead, I got, you guys didn't do this for me, and you ain't do that for me, and all this that. And I'm like, bro, you made the most money than anybody else. What you mean? The balance is, it was people that didn't like you, you know, but there was more people. I mean, there was Let's Go Cena chance. Yeah, you may have only heard the Cena sucks part, but there was plenty of Let's Go Cena chance. So
he called them out too, though.
Yeah, but
he did.
You know, yeah, he did. But I'm saying when I say he heard, like, that was, it felt like that was the motivation. You know what I mean? So I was just, it's good because that's how he should sound. He should sound like a whiny, you know what? You know what I mean? And like I said, I would have wanted to hear more about it. It was way too long, I think. But because it was some parts that was going back and forth. Now, the funniest part that I popped was because shout out to Raw, afternoon Raw coming on at 3:00. It was just the time I just picked up my daughter from school. And the first thing she said was, he sounds like a teacher.
Oh, that's not nice.
When he said, you have lost your right to talk. And shoot, who was it on Threads? Man, I forgot. I wanted to just shout the person out. But they was like, yo, I did Catholic, somebody who went to Catholic school. That's exactly what he sounded like.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
We have Catholic school teacher references. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, and I was like, look, I did 9 years of those crimes. So
We get the time.
yeah, man.
Not 9 years.
9 long years.
Look, man, I only did 3 at that school.
Right. But he sounded like that. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on out. But yeah, I think he was definitely on one. Cena as a heel, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where he goes, but I was still missing a little bit of, like, a little bit more reasoning. I need a little bit more sauce to this. But you know, it's like I've always said, it's too early to call it the greatest heel turn. I think it may have been, he played the cues that you do when you turn heel, but we've seen them all before, so I can't really even say like that's the best post heel turn promo I've heard. It's the longest,
okay. Sure.
But you know,
let's definitely let him rip a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about clearly this is just getting started and we don't know where it's going to go. Cody Rhodes had no problem clearly addressing John Cena. You know, cut his promo and like a gangster, he threw the mic at his chest and walked out, and John Cena kind of just took it. I'm sure it's going to be a receipt coming somewhere. So if you see John Cena hitting Cody Rhodes in the face with the microphone, probably
shout out to Justin jumping in. Angry Cena gave off Kevin male Karen vibes.
He definitely kind of did. I mean, so let's talk about some of our favorite heel turns. There's been a ton, and I've uploaded as many as I possibly could to StreamYard, and I have a couple of what you call it. But let's talk about some of our favorite and most famous heel turns and compare John Cena's heel turn in his promo to, what we have seen in yesteryear and how it matches up with everything else. Where do you guys want to start? Let's talk about this one. Rocky Maivia, die, Rocky, die. From you stupid pieces of crap. My favorite lines.
Yeah.
Rocky
Actually-
Maivia.
I was gonna say with The Rock, as much as I like this one, I went back and watched Corporate Rock.
Okay.
And I like Corporate Rock too. Like, I think that one we forget about, but this one was like, because what made Corporate Rock so great was that even though he would become the people's champ, and it was very brief, if you remember. Like, it didn't
seem like it.
Huh? No, remember when he was so he joins the Nation, he stays with them. 98, he kind of finds his way into a face as D'Lo and Mark Henry kind of go their separate, they split from him. But then 2 months later, he's back. And it was like, I ain't forget none of that y'all said. Y'all was rocking with me because y'all thought McMahon wasn't for me. So y'all was rocking with me, but I never, because he was starting to say he was still the people's elbow, but then he was like, nah, I sold out because, I ain't forget none of the stuff y'all said.
Okay. Well, what about you, Brother Guy, and Brother Hugh? How did you guys feel about John Cena's dissertation compared to Die, Rocky, Die?
Does it really compare?
Well,
Thank you.
Maybe not in impact, but in, hey, this is somebody that at one point has had a similar tone of voice where, hey, look, I came out here, I worked hard, I did everything right, and you guys still booed me. So, like, it's almost the same sentiment. Maybe not as far as impact, but
I feel like this was a character change. Yeah, I feel like it had to be a character change because his gimmick, and I hate to say gimmick, it wasn't working. So we had to try something different. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
I equate this to when like people they cut their hair or grow their hair out, and it's like, oh, it's a gimmick change. It really wasn't a turn. It was just like, okay, all right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Let me try something new. Right.
Yeah, let's try something new.
You stupid pieces of crap. Let's talk about probably one of the greatest ones of all time. Bam. When Hogan, Nash, and Hall formed the NWO and
Hollywood.
Hogan was born. So here we go. Now, this is the first one. Hogan joining the NWO is obviously the one everybody compares such a monumental heel turn to.
Has betrayed WCW.
That's it. Speaking of that line, Brian H., here's the thing about that. Even though he betrayed WCW, people treated it like he betrayed the wrestling world in whole.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't think we've ever seen anything like this ever. Like, I think everybody kind of followed this suit after a while. But, man, you got to think about Hogan being kind of washed, right? Somebody that
Big time washed.
Yeah, like he, and it's on record. Jimmy Hart said, no, we were getting booed out of buildings in like the early 90s, like 92 or whatever it was. Whatever, I mean, not 92, whatever year.
92.
Okay, yes. He was like, bro, it was bad. Like, we were getting booed real bad. And clearly this happy accident happened. But how are we comparing John Cena's heel turn to Hogan? So, some people are saying it was better. Some people are saying it doesn't compare. But what's the realm thinking? How do we compare John Cena after so many years being one way compared to Hollywood Hogan after a longer time really, 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 really turning on wrestling fans?
Well, I think you look at it that the way you just brought up, when you bring up that part, it doesn't compare, right? When you bring up the fact that Hogan betrayed wrestling and Hogan was getting booed, he was getting booed because it was like, okay, we're over the same stuff over and over again, right? So then he would go, like, he comes back, like, in WWE, he was there 92, he wins, but if you remember, he gets cheered when he's eliminated from the 92 Royal Rumble.
Right.
He faces Sid Justice, who's a good guy, but then he disappears. Well, when he shows up to get on the road to WrestleMania 9, he gets cheered because he had been gone for a while, right? But
Mhm.
then slowly but surely, he started to get booed again. But I mean, well, they was overseas, but even like his match with Yokozuna, because Yokozuna was a massive heel. But afterwards, it wasn't like, okay, we want Hogan back. Well, then he goes to WCW because Flair's running rapid and he gets cheered. But then after a while, it started getting stale. He was basically what,
Like 3-day-old bread.
yeah, he's like what
I was
John
about to say,
Moxley is right now.
he's always
You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
ouch.
So the thing is, what made this great was the fact that it was like it basically rejuvenated his career and allowed him, who had been the biggest babyface, the greatest babyface, to become the greatest heel. Because now he could take that gripe where John Cena, it was, if we being honest, the booze was something cool to do. It wasn't like we
Nobody's
don't
really
want to.
booing him.
Yeah, Hogan was like, bro, we tired of you doing the same stuff. Cena, it was, yo, I'm coming to boo you. I respect you, but it sounds better with the music. Because once they started singing John Cena sucks, now it becomes cool. It's like Kurt Angle. When you suck, that's when the things change. So that's the reason why I can't compare it. On the long-term effects, we gotta wait and see. But this one right here changed the whole industry.
But didn't they
Okay.
do the same thing with Cena?
What?
They were tired of Cena too. The 5 moves of death. They were
The
tired of his whole stick too.
only reason why people was tired of Five Moves of Doom, those are really just the
Doom or
small
whatever.
portion of the internet. That was the CM Punk fans, right? The fans that don't get out of their mother's basement. That's all that was.
Don't talk about brother guy's community like that, because he was
Right.
CM Punk guy for a long time.
Yeah.
Because
Further
now
from the CM Punk out here.
because
No
even
furthers.
now all those Punk fans don't like Punk because they feel Punk is turning back on them. But that was the thing. But people wasn't never like Cena never got go away heat. Hogan was starting to get go away heat because they wanted to see something different.
So what I'm
Yeah,
hearing
he was
is,
always get some boo boo.
well, so what I'm hearing is the reason no comparison, and correct me if I'm wrong, is because Hogan actually kind of got over even more as a heel. Like he had a whole nother run.
No, I think you're looking at it wrong.
Talk to us,
So
brother guy.
the reason I'm saying, because we're looking at a heel turn versus a heel moment. When Hogan came down as the third man in that moment, he had no history with Hall and Nash. And it was a shocker to the system that he sided with these outsiders that were a threat to that company, right?
Yeah.
When Cena
Totally.
when Cena hugged Cody and then he kicked him, everybody was like, oh my gosh, not this is happening. Wait a minute, why is he signed with the man that he fought for 2 WrestleManias, but he's turning on the man that he helped at WrestleMania? It was so much history in that moment that caused more questions as to why Cena, why. Whereas though those are the two moments I'm comparing. I'm not comparing Hogan black and white, spray painting the title, on a rampage, running WCW. I'm not comparing that. I'm comparing the moment in the ring when Cena kicked Cody and when he turned his back on the fans at that moment, to me, was a oh my gosh moment that's going to be a better moment. Now, 6 months from now, a year from now, we could compare the runs, but for that moment, you got to think about we were so vested in Cody saying "Go f yourself" to The Rock. We were
True.
so vested in we're going to get this match that we're like, okay, this is our Mania match. Triple H, wait a minute, Triple H, what did you just do? But with Hogan, Hall, and Nash, that was a whole thing. Hogan coming to save everybody. Here we go. Wait a minute, he didn't save him. He's siding with him. Oh my God, he's that person. So
Sparked the
that
revolution.
moment, sparked that moment to have that whole heel turn, this whole revolution, this whole NWO. So I'm not comparing that. I'm just comparing that in the ring. Now we got to see what's going to. That's why I said he was just justified. And his promo that he did, he justified everything he's doing because he was telling us. Hogan didn't tell us anything because whether the story goes that it was going to be Sting until the last moment, they said, okay, Hogan was in on it. We don't know. So, you know what I mean? But we don't know the backstory of this. I'm saying when he did that leg drop versus when he punk kidded Cody and his crown jewels, I think that had a
Yeah.
bigger statement than Hogan doing the leg drop. That moment,
What?
those moments are
What?
moments. Mm-hmm.
Well, Hogan
Because what
said
he
his Hogan's justification was one that the people did turn on him, and he did it for the money.
He did say
And
that.
what company did he know? Like he said, y'all calling these guys the outsiders. Well, who knows more about that company that they the outsiders because it was the whole perception of these guys was invading for WWE.
Right,
And
right.
and the
no,
best
I'm not
part
talking about
was,
the explanation. I'm talking about that
but you said
moment.
he never justified it.
No, I'm saying
And we
that
wasn't
moment
thinking
right there.
about what Ted Turner was thinking in the moment either, or or
Yeah,
or
I'm saying just that
or
moment,
Dusty
like we're talking
Rhodes or
about.
whoever was booking.
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
saying that moment, the leg drop versus the punt kick. That's what I'm saying. I'm just comparing that in-ring moments to me was more impactful because of the history in the ring. Now, Hogan's explanation answered all your questions.
Hmm.
Cena left us with more questions. You get what I'm
Okay.
saying? And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I can't compare the heel turns because when you say the heel turn of Hogan, I'm thinking NWA, I'm sorry, NWO, spray paint, black and white, all of the stuff they did, even the evolution of Wolfpack, winning the Monday Night Raw. I'm thinking of all of that stuff. I'm not comparing any of that. I'm just
No,
comparing
no,
the
I get it.
that one moment.
Yeah, because I think when you look at it that way, it's like, well, yeah, because this is really how much is this really? How far is this really going to lead to? So,
Right.
like I said,
Right.
it led to ENWO, which turned the wrestling world inside out. Versus John Cena's already made it clear I'm retiring. So it's
And
like,
also
Hmm.
remember too the trash flying in the ring. Like
yeah,
Hogan broke hearts. Cena ain't
yeah,
break hearts. It was like thank you more so. Hogan,
No, seriously.
yeah, see,
yeah,
like
That's what I was
Hogan
gonna
walks
say.
out
Yeah,
there.
because
The NWO people didn't like the NWO. Like we can say they were cool now. People didn't like Hall and Nash at that time. It was like, yo, why are y'all here? Y'all invading our WCW. We
yeah.
are
Like when it
anti-WWF
We
guys.
when
want to
it
get
first
away from the
happened, it wasn't
WWF. That's
cool.
why we're here in
Yeah,
WCW.
And then all of
We're
a
here because we
sudden,
don't like that.
right.
yeah. So then all of a sudden, Hogan comes in, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, he was with these guys. Maybe they was planning this all along. All of a sudden, that's the first time you ever seen them like throw trash and batteries and everything in the ring.
Yeah, it was ugly.
But Brian,
look,
this is
man.
this is the equivalent, and the way you're gonna laugh when I say this. When Hulk Hogan dropped that leg drop, that's like when Captain America said Hail Hydra. Nobody wanted it
Oh
and
yeah.
nobody expected it. And they forced Marvel to push their plans ahead so fast because of the outrage. And
Mm-mm.
this is just like if I'm trying to equate it to the Young and the Restless, a moment that you might be able to remember, but this was unprecedented, different time. Oh my gosh, how did this happen? Why did this happen? You get what I'm saying? And that's why I'm saying this. I just think that because of the history and all this, the trash compared to like media, it's a different time frame. Like I get it. That wasn't happening until then. Like
That
in
was
the death
legit
threats,
anger. That was legit
yeah,
heat.
in death
Right.
threats,
Mm.
yeah, that was legit. But I think that when he just made a wish to a kid that was there watching it and still went through to it. Ooh.
Mm. Go ahead, brother. Here, you
Mm.
about to say
I
something
don't know,
about breaking
man.
hearts?
I don't even remember anymore because they were going in. They had some good points, but the
Should
major
have
thing
wrote it
I
down.
think I was gonna the major thing I thought I was about to say was like it was unexpected. Literally, it
Yeah,
was 100% unexpected. You never even thought about nobody at that time. I can guarantee you, nobody ever thought about Hogan being a heel ever.
One person,
And
one person.
besides you, because you know everything.
No.
who thought about
Whose
Hogan?
side is he on? Who said Bobby the
Hold on,
Brain
hold on, hold on.
Heenan?
Chill out, chill out, chill out, chill out. Let me rap for a second. Nobody else really even thought about that. None of the fans, nobody.
Right,
They thought
right,
we was
right.
gonna get the same Hogan
Hmm.
Saving the
forever,
day.
right? Exactly. John Cena, like you said, it was more of a thank you because we've been wanting this and we've been talking about this. Rumors been swirling about this for how long? For 20 plus years,
Yeah,
right?
Hmm.
So
es-
I feel like as much
especially
as
with
I hate to
Roman.
say
Yeah,
it, right? As much as I hate to say it with Hogan, because Hogan's a part of it, his turn might be, or it might still be number one on the list. Just because number one, it was the first time it was done, and like you said, the impact you is tough to
and
say
follow.
because you don't know what's going to come from the scene and stuff. But like Dwayne said, we know Cena is done in December,
Right. We know it's not no NWO quality.
We think we
right?
know because I can see that
Right.
wouldn't
Well,
that
Well,
be a heel move? Stay
exactly. I would
around him.
love that. Now we got to talk about it a little bit later on, right? But
yeah,
right now we know that Cena is done in December.
Hmm.
You
right.
know, so it's like Hogan still has the edge. That whole turn still has the edge because we already know what NW did, what NWO, the impact they had on the wrestling world.
Yeah,
And like we said, nobody knew anything about this at all. They didn't even
right.
think about it.
Yeah. No, that's actually all good points. So like when you look at, I guess, the impact, it's I think we've said like three different things, but it's kind of pointing to the same direction. Like, yeah, well, no, as heel turnish as this is, it does not necessarily compare to, you know, the Rock's heel turn, because like you said, one, that was a character change. That's one type of change, not the same. And Hogan's situation was, it sparked the next generation of professional wrestling. It sparked the NWO, sparked the Monday Night Wars, it sparked the ad. So much came from
That
just
is
that
true.
one shift. And if
Yeah.
somebody has that much power that you can shift the paradigm of wrestling, the whole
Go ahead
wrestling
and say
world.
it. Go ahead and say it.
You know what I mean? It's a big deal. You know what I mean? So
He's still the GOAT, man.
here you go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. We're gonna wrap this up, but let's revisit some of our
favorite heel turns.
Yeah. So we got this one.
Mhm.
You know, we got Seth Rollins in the ship. Does this compare in any way? Real quick, anybody? Does this to Seth Rollins?
It's
I
a
don't think
wrestling
so.
moment, not an industry moment, but it's definitely a wrestling moment.
Yeah.
It's a good moment.
I would definitely say so, because Seth Rollins was a new superstar. It wasn't like he was an established guy, right?
This
Exactly.
this compares to
That
the
right there
moment I
was
mentioned
Dean.
earlier with
What'd you say?
DX.
Mhm.
DX breaking up the band at its height. That's what this
Mhm.
carried. Because, you know, at this point, you remember we had just did that season 3 one episode, and you brought up the fact how impactful they were. They were
Right.
still on a high. They could have, you know, they could have had a run where Roman and Ambrose was it would have been probably Roman and Ambrose was tag team champions. Seth would have been world champion, or mix it in any kind of way you choose, and it would have been okay. But he broke it up at like, yo, we rolling, you know.
Now I know this isn't that DX version, but this right here pissed me the heck off.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh my goodness. That's Batman.
You got a ringtone.
Batman is calling.
Wow, bro, that's that alarm. That's what that was.
Oh, okay. This right here caused me not to watch wrestling. I almost started. This is right era where I almost started watching wrestling again, and then this happened, and it pissed me off.
I was mad.
I was pissed too.
I hadn't hated Shawn Michaels yet, so I was definitely mad about that one.
How about this moment, the barbershop moment?
Bro,
Oh.
I was pissed.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Because I used to like the Rockers.
The
So
Rockers
this
splitting up. Shawn Michaels
this is
and
the
Marty Jannetty.
first heel turn I remember.
Okay, all right.
Like,
Right.
like as a child, because you think like,
That's like a wrestling room fact question. What's the first heel turn you remember as a kid?
yeah, because you know, I remember like, okay, Macho Man and Hogan had fights, and then Macho Man was wearing the trunks, then the pants, and all that. But this is the one I very like vividly remember watching it happen in the moment.
Okay.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you felt the same way. I this was for me the beginning of the Heartbreak Kid, so I didn't really pay. That's not true. I always liked the Rockers as a tag team, but this was like I said, this is the beginning of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels
You
and
watched
Lil
the
Age.
special on E.
I have not watched it yet, but I plan on getting into it.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really soon. Or it's on my own demand playlist. How
I
about
think I
this one?
watched The Dark Side of the Ring.
No.
Shawn Martin Jannetty.
Now, that's
Oh,
the first
geez,
one
no.
I remember.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay, brother guy, talk
That's the
about it,
first
brother
one I
guy,
remember.
because we called this after the fact. Sergeant Slaughter turned into an Iraqi sympathizer, and this was we found out at a later date. I mean, the level of depth. I mean, this guy was on freaking GI Joe. It's Sergeant Slaughter, for goodness sake. This is
Exactly.
This is
Right.
And
America's
that's
general, and he became an Iraqi sympathizer. Brandon, talk about this, because you said you remember this. This is, I saw this
and
secondhand, but
you gonna laugh when I tell you why I remember this. Because my grandmother hated this. She thought it
Oh,
was the
wow.
worst thing that Vince McMahon could have ever did. She said, "Why would you take Al Hero and make him this?" Oh my God! You know, it was our climate was a little different back then. And I remember her saying some very choice words towards the TV every time he came down because, you know, she was saying she wasn't a huge Sergeant Slaughter fan. I do remember that, but she hated this turn. Hated it.
So
So
wait,
in
you was
turn,
hip to
I
the
might
business
like it.
early.
Yeah, I just know she used to curse at the TV when this came.
Because you
So
said she said why would Vince do this? I'm like you didn't have the kayfabe, like didn't know it was pretty, like
So
you
she knew
knew
Vince was doing
already.
this.
no, she was saying because think about this in the time we knew Vince McMahon was the person behind the scene with the storylines and everything. And I
Oh
remember
right,
her
I
because as we
see.
talk about it later on,
Okay,
like with the
Grandma.
ladder match, right? Like with the ladder match, she always said, that was the best. She always swore that the ladder match with Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels was the best ladder match that was ever produced. And she used to say stuff that always like would make me perk up. And even later in life, she would say, that was the worst thing Vince ever did. That's the worst thing Vince. And
Oh
I
okay.
remember her screaming at the TV about this is so blank and blank stupid. Why did blank blank? And I'm like, oh, grandma really going off about this. She really hates this. So
Shout out to
I know that
Grandma.
she always said this was the worst thing. She said this was the worst thing Vince ever did. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. But she
Hmm.
loved that ladder match.
There you go. Yeah, this is. I didn't realize how much heat they started ended up getting because of this, to the point where, like I
Hate
said,
mail, death threats.
death
People
threats, and they
was
got armed
mhm.
guards and stuff around his home. I was like, oh boy, this is. I remember seeing the clip because that's how I saw it.
And
But
they used it to lie about WrestleMania 7.
well,
Trying
true.
it's like they ain't sold enough tickets. That's what happened.
Yeah,
Oh.
just
Different
Hogan didn't want to
time,
work.
man, different
Hogan
time.
wanted to work with who he wanted to work with.
What you mean?
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, because Hogan pulling strings. I'm not. I want to work with Johnson Sergeant Slaughter. So Matt Hardy turning on Jeff Hardy. Is this something? I know this
Oh,
is something I didn't see coming.
despicable.
Yeah, it
It
was
How
was
terrible.
pointless.
dare he?
It was
I
pointless.
definitely didn't see that happen.
Yeah, it was
This
so pointless.
this was to me for them, right? Looking
Mhm.
back at it, hindsight being 2020, it was like, okay, y'all want to have y'all dream match against each other at WrestleMania. We'll let you have
Right.
it. So I respect it, but I was like, really? You the one who, and I love Matt Hardy, but I'm like, you gonna be the one to like
You got
turn
it, brother.
on him
You
and
kidding
for
me? Everybody loved
Edge?
Jeff. Of course he was. Well, yeah, that too.
But like you the join the guy who took your woman, first of all. Then
True.
also
Right.
you talked about the whole situation with his house burning, and it was
Then
I
he
was
killed
I
the
was
dog.
mad. Yeah,
And the pyro was
That's
his
not funny.
fault. He tried to burn him to death.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was so bad. I
Yeah.
just hated. I did not like this heel turn. And I don't
Really.
like it when like we saw with Edge and Christian, and we see how that played out. And
Mhm.
Christian tried to go to that dark place, and it was like it really couldn't get that grit to it
Christian was a
because
clown until he got to TNA. I'm sorry.
exactly. Now knowing what the patriarchy could do, if that would have been what we got then, like his
Oh
coldest
yeah.
line
Oof.
was, "She should have aborted you in the womb." That thing, and I was like, "Whoa!" Christian got a little dark, and I think that's when it was like. But this, I felt like it was like out of nowhere, and then it was over. And I'm like, why did we do that? And then it was, oh,
Yeah, I
now we're
don't even
back
remember
together,
what
we're
happened
happy. And
after.
yeah, after Mania, that match, it was like it was over because
I
then
love.
he was. I didn't like this at all.
I loved Matt Hardy's whole change. I loved his
I
gear.
loved his, yeah.
Yeah.
His gear was good. I was like, okay. Now I didn't like when he started wearing like purple and blue and he went back to being a face and stuff like that. I thought that was stupid. But at the time,
Oh
quick-
yeah.
Yeah, version
at
one. I was
the-
about to say yeah.
I
Yeah,
hated
version
version
one
one
was
Matt
cool.
Hardy. I didn't like. No,
You
I
did?
did not. I did not like Weasel.
You ain't
Matt
like the
Hardy.
Matt
I
Facts?
like.
I like
You
the
ain't like the
match
Matt
though.
Facts?
No, hated it.
The Matt
Hated it.
Facts.
That was associated with the era of wrestling. I was like, bro, this is dumb. This is him and Shannon Moore walking around V1, and it's like, dude, this is just dumb. And when he got to this point, I was like, okay, I'm seeing it. But
I
then they
like
started
that match though. Matt
the
and Jeff
match
at
at
WrestleMania and Backlash.
yes, that's one of my favorite ones, both of them.
Yeah.
And I wonder what year this is, brother Hugh.
Yeah, what year is this here?
Yeah.
What year is
I don't
this here?
know.
I don't know. I don't
Super
remember what year
over
it is.
Hardy.
Speaking of brothers, how about this one? And we're almost done. We're getting out of here. I know we're going over a little bit later, but just wanted to kind of.
It was, I
Right.
guess, needed, but I mean,
Brian
the
H.,
Steiner
I'm
brothers.
disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, Brian H. I thought this would be the one to tickle your fancy. That when
What?
Scott Steiner, because this is your favorite tag team of all time, isn't it?
One of them, not
Aren't you?
my favorite, but they're in my top 5.
Who's your favorite tag team of all time? I don't remember.
Now the
All of
Usos.
Oh, it's Usos. You're right. I'm sorry.
Usos,
It
then
is.
the Heart Foundation.
And then the Young Bucks, right?
So-
You funny.
So
Now,
what
that's
happened?
not
So
a-
I don't know much about this turn. What caused this heel turn on each other? What caused this
NWO.
turn?
Scott,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically, literally 100%.
Yeah.
One of the biggest
Scotty
things
went-
ever. Join,
wanted
yeah,
to get out of his shadow. They had been the Steiner brothers forever, and he wanted to go on a singles run. But his look,
yep.
I watched Scott Steiner's interview with Chris Van Vliet, the greatest
Yeah,
that's
that was really
doing it right
good.
now. Scott Steiner, you saw another sort. I don't hate him as much as I used to now. Like he was that good at being a character. I'm like, oh, he's a normal guy.
Mhm.
And but he
He
had
loved
such a
Hogan.
dress. Yeah, well, clearly. He had such a drastic change at this point, brother guy. Like he was regular
Yeah.
Scott Steiner, but then like literally after this, he said he literally went to a hair salon and he became Big Papa Pump, and like he changed everything about himself. But that is kind of that's the Scott Steiner that we really know about. Like
Right. That's what I'm saying.
this awkward middle era of Scott Steiner was kind of lost in the sauce, where like Steiner brothers were kind of old and outdated, and trying to look edgy and not being the big, these guys from the 80s and 90s. And it was
Mhm.
like it gave birth to the Scott Steiner that we began to kind of rave about. So I always thought that was one of the one of the craziest heel turns it's a deep cut. Don't get me wrong.
It's
definitely a
not
deep
talked
cut.
about. I'm glad we're talking about it because
Yeah,
it's
because I
definitely
didn't know
not
much
talked
about
about.
it.
Because
I
like I
felt like
said,
from the the Steiner brothers to Big Papa Pump. I don't
it gave
remember.
this moment. Oh, trust me, just give it a week or two. I'm sure you're gonna see it on WCW's YouTube channel
Right.
really, really soon.
Right.
Shout out
Okay.
to that channel too.
Yeah, that's done as
Yeah.
fire. But yeah, but like I said, this gave birth to just a completely different character, Big Papa Pump. Like I never realized how jacked he was until he became Big Papa Pump. And I was like, dude, is he on roids? But he was always that big though. Like he was never not,
Yeah, he was.
a jacked guy. And even then he got even leaner because he talked about it. He said, yeah, I was a big beef guy because when we came in, he kept saying like cuts are for kids. We were all jacked, big road warriors looking, beefy looking dudes, but he was having back injuries and things he was dealing with. So he kind of, had to cut it up, and he knew how to, work his body and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this, like I said, it sparked a character. So we talk about the impact of what happens after these heel turns, right? So you have the
Gotcha.
NWO, you know what I mean? Like Cena turns heel, it doesn't lead to anything. He's going to retire. But even Matt Hardy turned heel. He turned heel for a little bit. It didn't stick. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, it didn't lead to much. But this gave birth to a whole new character. But, oh boy. And we're going to wrap up with this one. We had a few more. I had Trish turning on and Christian turning on Chris Jericho. That was just for you, the guy. But it didn't make the cut. But I do have this
I
one.
was about to say you ain't gonna talk
Please.
about Dominic.
No,
Dominic
you
was
talking about-
one of the best ones.
First off,
Same with
realness,
Bailey.
realness, before you go into this one, this is the Kevin Owens one that you picked, and not the
This
Festival of Friendship. You have disappointed me.
Hear me out.
Hell, this was
The only reason I was
This is
going to
deeper.
pick the Festival of Friendship, but I was like, you know what? This was the first one that happened in WWE. The Festival of Friendship, we had already known Kevin Owens who he was by the time that
Mhm.
happened.
Okay,
Right.
all right,
You know what I
fair
mean?
enough. We knew it was going to happen. We knew.
Yeah,
We
like-
just wait for it.
Kevin Owens was on his best behavior in WWE. Like you could the mainstream audience wasn't as familiar with Kevin Steen. Now we got the privilege
Absolutely.
to see him because he was in our backyard. So we saw Kevin Steen every week, whether it was on local television. Like that was really the last feel of the territory days for us. Like we got to actually watch
Yeah.
Ring of Honor on TV on CW, like locally. It wasn't like a big
Mhm.
national show. And then we got to go to shows at the local armory. It wasn't. It was Drew Burns Arena. But
For 20,
we
20
kind
hours
of
all day.
right, like we kind of knew what was
Steadily.
coming, but it happened really, really fast. And WWE like, oh shoot, here it goes. And this was just like, oh, he's not wasting any time. Like, yeah, sorry, y'all. Who's this Kevin Owens guy?
Night, bro.
Really? We're like, oh, don't worry about it. See, you'll get used to it. This is
Yep.
kind of what he does. Yeah, that's his best friend for now, but yeah. So yeah. So this is just one of those heel turns where it's like we kind of knew it was coming because Kevin Owens as a face is only gonna last you for so long.
Shout out
But-
to Miss Gifts if y'all follow on Twitter. They write a whole thread on the history of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and actually got a book coming out about it. And it's literally
wow,
the
really?
documenting all the way. If you follow on Twitter, yeah, Myth Gifts they got a whole section, just a whole thread, and they started running it around the time of the Bloodlines when I found out about it when Sammy joined KO. I saw that, and it was like a whole thread about the whole rivalry and stuff.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty cool. I'll probably check it out probably before I go to sleep. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. John Cena speaks, he turns heel. And I think we've kind of come to a conclusion about the fact that, hey, you know what? Maybe it is somewhat justified, but we're not exactly sure where this is going, where it's headed, and why exactly as Brian Nate said, why did he specifically join the Final Boss? He could have done this on his own, but for some reason, there's more questions than answers. And because we're on the road to WrestleMania and Triple H is playing with us, we're not going to fall for that trap because we're better than that. So,
He wants your soul. He wants
Right.
his soul.
It's only one final boss, man. That's the reason. You can't turn down the final boss.
we have yet to figure out what the heck is going on with WrestleMania. But as we inch closer on this road to WrestleMania, thank you, Brian H. We just got the link into the group text. We are going to be good wrestling fans. We're going to enjoy this ride. And if you want to enjoy the ride with the Wrestling Realm, please follow us on all our social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, YouTube at the Wrestling Realm. Follow Championship Culture on Instagram at Championship Culture _. Catch Championship Culture every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Break it down. Brian H. Keep it 100 on our YouTube channel. Weekly, daily, however often, but just stay tuned and trust me, we will be back next week as we continue on the road to WrestleMania. And who knows what the heck is going to happen by then? Will it be Roman? Will it be Seth? Will it be CM Punk? Will it be Charlotte Flair? Will it be Nia Jax? There's so much going on, and guess what? We don't have time to get into all of it. But until then, wrestling fans, please stay wrestling fans, and we will catch you on the flippity flip. We out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.